I want to maybe share with you a little bit of, some of my musings from retreat. The time away is so precious, and maybe I first want to, thank Bill and thank Jay and David for holding the fort down while I was on retreat. Um, it really is such a special time to be able to go away and to just like step out and have some deeper quiet. Yeah. And that it's interesting how you want the quiet, and then when you get the quiet, you're not so sure you want the quiet. Because you have to sit with all the rattles. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, are the rattles. Like the first thing that I became really aware of was the resistance, which I always do. It's the first thing that I encounter when I go on retreat and I sit down, is I encounter this experience of resistance of, I don't really want to feel what I'm feeling. Not really. Do I have to? Do I have to? Well, actually, yes, I do. But I have to create the conditions in order to do that. And that's what the retreat allows me to do, is it allows me to set up the conditions. And I also want to say that I see that our practice, our daily practice, is in the same way. When we get on the cushion for the half hour that we sit together, that's your little mini retreat. Every day, that's your little mini retreat. See it that way. Set up the conditions that way. That's your time, just to kind of check in and see how it is, even if it's not feeling so good, because that's how we're going to be able to work with what's coming up for real. So, once I kind of welcomed resistance, which is what needs to happen, welcoming it, which means I have to see it and be able to name the resistance and feel that, don't want, and hold don't want, kindly hold don't want, so it doesn't run the show. And once I hold resistance kindly, well, then the other visitors come to visit. So I had this image on retreat for whatever reason of being at the beach, and the rattles are kind of like the beach at low tide, and all of the debris is strewn about. All of the to-dos, all of the unresolved, all of the aches, all of the pains, all the crankiness, the sadness, the angers, the hurts, the regrets, the stories, and the old songs, even the songs that I don't like, they come washing ashore. So whether they've been collected for a while or they're newly reacted, here they are on the beach, and I'm sitting with them, And the thing about being on retreat is that or even in the privacy of our little sitting practice, is that we've cleared away enough of the distractions that we can see what's lying on the beach. So, you want to notice these things that are lying on the beach, and you want to find a way to keep breathing. How to keep breathing and adjusting the view such that it feels kind. And what came to me is the recollection of being a kid on the beach, which I might tell you that even as an adult, I'm still a kid on the beach. I'm walking around and I'm looking at the interesting things that are just on the shore that are available, picking up rocks and sticks and looking at tide pools and being curious about what's happening there, the life that's happening there. And in many ways, that's how one is to perhaps approach dukkha, or a good way to approach dukkha that we encounter in our sitting is to imagine it as debris on the beach. And we're walking by and we're being curious, and we're looking at the texture, and we might pick it up and feel it. And what is this? And even be curious about its origin story, right? Its origin story. And a story might just come to you, right? What is that story that comes to you? Well, can you notice the story ticker tape through and not get involved with that story? Just be curious, like maybe so, maybe that was a story there, boop, 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 right? You know, like you encounter a piece of wood on the beach, and where did that piece of wood come from? What is it? Was it a boat? Was it a surfboard that broke? What is it? What was it? What is it like now? And you know, look at this. Now I'm suddenly finding it. What is it? What is it to me that I'm finding this little treasure? Right. The beachcomber is always very curious. Very curious. So here it was the night before retreat, before our retreat, and an incident occurred that stirred up old feelings of not enough. That's how I went into retreat, folks. These feelings got stirred. And it was like, I couldn't believe it. It's like, are you serious? This is the first time I'm going to get to like have a chunk of time. And this is what's going to get stirred up for real? Yeah, for real. For real. So this is what I sat with at the beginning of the retreat. And it's important that the feelings have a chance to have their life and move through. Like even right now, I can feel the tears, right? Just let the tears move through. I don't know what the tears are about, but they're just moving through. I'll let them move through as I'm speaking. I know they're there. So here I was with this upheaval that I didn't want and didn't expect. And what did it do? But it pricks all of the other stories that are attached to that story of not enough. It's never just one story. That would be nice, but not so. So it's a cascading of feelings. And so they're like waves that are passing through. This one, now this time when I didn't feel enough, and this one I didn't feel enough, and this one I didn't feel chosen, and this one I felt excluded. Right? We are not beyond praise and blame, are not beyond inclusion and exclusion. And so we feel that. And we want to feel those feelings and let them pass through like a wave. Because that's actually how we begin to untie these karmic knots of ours that have been with us forever and a day, is we let them wash through us. It's not pleasant, it's not pretty, batten down the hatches sometimes. Most of my retreat, actually, ironically, it ended up being, I did a lot of walking. Now, you know, I these days have been a stander. I stand for long periods of time, but for whatever reason on this retreat, because I had a lot of energy, I guess, to move, I did a lot of walking meditation, and it was incredibly helpful for just allowing the dust to settle and not get involved with the story, but walk with the story. Like I was walking on the beach. If I'm walking on the beach and an upsetting story is happening, I need only just look at the sky and just like keep walking and look at the sky and feel like this little story is happening in this expanse of a sky. It's just a story. But I forget that there's a whole big sky when I'm caught up in that story. And so it's remembering back into that sky, and that beachcomber image is sort of what just kept coming to me. Walk in the beach, walk in the beach. Yeah. Walking to untie the knots that are knotted up in there, to kindly walk with them, because that's really what the wish is to unbind from them. And so the hardest part of the practice is figuring how do you let a storm pass and not get swept up with it, which is, why I offer to you, that image of the walking the beach. Oh my goodness, for me, so helpful. Just, let me just keep walking that beach, and it quiets down. So imagine yourself on your own private beach, really. A storm has just passed and it leaves all kinds of debris of stories and emotions that are strewn about. right? Now find a place to sit comfortably or stand comfortably near enough to that little pile of debris that you know what it is you're looking at, but far enough away to have the perspective of the beach of the mind, the sky of the mind, and this little debris that may have a lot of other pieces of debris that are threaded to it, but still debris on a beach, a sky. Like that, perspective, kind eyes gazing at this debris. What is this? Where did that piece of driftwood come from? And it's not like we have to reach for that. The mind just kind of naturally muses to that. Oh, this is when this happened and that happened, and then drop below that and just feel the texture of that story, feel the emotion of that story. Oh, it's the pain, the sadness of that. Oh, it's the grief of that. Oh, it's the anger of that, or the anxiety of that. What oh my, what's needed now to kind of be with that? Well, maybe I'll just get up and walk around, or maybe I'll just sit here quietly and breathe and just let the emotions, let the rattle of my breath and the tightness of my belly slowly relax as I sit here and feel my body sitting on the beach. Can I do that? So that's my encouragement, I guess, for today, is that we perhaps are like children on the beach, and we be curious what debris is strewn up on the beach of our mind. And we are more like kids that are curious and interested in all the little things in the tide pools, not to get involved with them, not to hurt them, but just to be curious and to feel. Be curious and feel. And stay on the beach in the expanse of the sky. Okay. Thank you for your kind attention.